When it comes to selling your product, you could argue that the only thing that matters is sales.
Right.
Upfront sales.
Sure.
Just get it sold, whatever it takes. Even if you spend all day long going door to door selling your product.
Yeah.
And you could also argue that you want to do it in the most efficient way possible so that you can spend time with the family or the girlfriend or mom and dad who need help. Now, there's a lot of buzz around, should I sell on Amazon and let Amazon own that experience, or should I sell on Shopify, for example, and then I own that customer experience? So, Marcus, in your opinion, what is owning the customer experience, and who cares?
So owning the customer experience would be, in the case of something like a Shopify, they come to your web page. You collect all the data that I think you choose to, but no less than like a good email, potentially a phone number. Why that matters is when you're looking for repeat customers, when you want to do promotions, when you do want to do any of that, then you have the option to email these people. You can send them an SMS text message these days, do anything like this, opposed to an Amazon who keeps their data very private, and you don't know who's buying what, where they're buying it from for the most part, and all that good stuff that helps you, run promotions. Is the majority of people who buy our products is it male? Is it 20 years old to 30 years old? Is it, all these type of things that really matter when you're looking to market or pinpoint market. And I feel like that's really what owning the customer experience is gathering any bit and all data that you can use for the future, whether it's marketing, just to know who your customers are and things like that.
So let's just jump into some background around a good sales funnel.
Yeah.
So let's do a little example. If I'm selling things door to door and I'm looking down a street full of 100 houses, those 100 houses, they're at the top of my funnel, right? They're at the entry point of my pathway to get them to buy. Now, when I knock and I speak to these customers, they are now entering the depths of my funnel where I'm trying to close. Mm-hmm. And the idea of a funnel is by the time you finally get that customer down to the base, they're refined enough to where they're ready to buy. Mm-hmm. So with your marketing, and Marcus and I push social media, all your followers, anybody viewing your video, they're at the top of your funnel. You're not necessarily trying to close. You're just trying to build an audience to eventually close. Now they've moved into the medium part of your funnel, which is getting to your website where you have the opportunity to close them. Maybe they're moving to Amazon. Maybe that's where you're directing them. Once again, the hope is to close them. Now, this is where a conversion rate becomes really, really important, because a conversion rate, never underestimate the conversion rate of Amazon. So the big question is, Marcus, with Amazon being so much easier to convert, is it worth all that trouble to try to get them to your website where they might not pull out their card anyway?
So that's the biggest dilemma I thought when I was starting this whole thing out. Like when I first said, I have this idea, I want to bring it to fruition. I don't want to run a company, really. I didn't have that mindset, at least in the beginning. And I don't want to deal with having to ship it out of my garage. I don't want, my maybe 2 sales a day or 1 sale a day to have to go to the post office or UPS or whatever it is just for that one thing. So I had it in my mind that Amazon was the only thing that I wanted to do. And you actually changed my mind with that based on how you run yours. And that was, having a little fulfillment center. And in your case, it's just one lady who happens to have 15 products or something like that, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And she takes care of all that back end stuff. So instantly your mind starts going, oh, but it might be X amount of dollars to have her ship per thing. But then Amazon's also going to take money for their FBA, right? The fulfillment by Amazon or fulfilled by Amazon.
Right.
So when you start weighing all those things, and as long as you get to be hands off with that kind of stuff, I really feel like there's no reason why you shouldn't put your product in as many places and avenues for people to get that out. Right now, I'll just share with everybody, I have the website, I have the fulfillment, but I also went on Amazon because that reach is so global and so instant compared to if it's only on my website, that's 100% me. On something like an Amazon, you start making sales and you can get that oh, you might buy this if you like this, or you might do this. And that's already, like, for me, shown massive growth with people just doing that. And so I feel like that's a really big difference. And I don't know if you want to share your experience as well.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that's all a factor in it.
Mm.
What it comes down to is how much is this costing me and how much is this making me?
Mm-hmm.
And I think people's initial reaction is, oh, don't pay Amazon all those silly fees. Plus, you can't own the customer experience.
Mm-hmm.
You can't own that. Let's be honest, it comes down to an email address.
It does.
You can argue that knowing that the ages of your audience and the gender is good, and it's okay, but that's for the marketing gurus to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
What you really care about is how easy was it for me to convert? If I drag 100 people onto my website with my conversion rate, 3 of them might buy. If I drag that same 100 people to Amazon, 8 of them might buy.
Right.
So now I don't have to, let's say I want to sell to 30 people a day. So I would have to bring 1,000 people to my website. It's really hard to get 1,000 interested eyeballs a day on social media.
Massively hard, yeah.
Now, if I only have to take, let's say, a third of that, if I only have to get 300 people to go to Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
and I know they're going to convert much better, then that's so much less work I have to do that day, that week, however you want to look at it. So I think that it's really important to decide, what do you value? I was saying before, it all comes down to emails. For me, I'll be honest, the point I'm getting to, this is a slow time of year. We're kind of in the midst of summer. Things aren't really solid with the economy. So there's psychological stuff, and we'll get into analysis paralysis on another podcast. But the way things have been going this month, I'm almost like, why am I working so hard to get so many people to my website and only converting 3% of them just to have their email?
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I don't like sending email marketing,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't like sending SMS marketing.
Yeah.
How do you feel about those marketing tactics?
You know, I think email is less intrusive than SMS. I mean, when I get an SMS text from some random stuff, it drives you nuts, right? Like I don't know. It just
Really intrusive.
It feels dirty.
A little bit.
It does. It just does. Unless I opted into it, which I haven't, and I still get them, then, an email is an email. You get hundreds of emails. If it's just another email, it is what it is. But no, I'm not a fan either. I'm not a fan of that kind of shotgunning or whatever it is to get that customer. And you made some good points. It's like, so we push social media very hard, posting every morning, posting to 4 or 5 accounts. And I have on each profile, I have my website, and then I also have my Amazon link. And I push both. I think I feel like pretty equally. I have so little people actually go to the website.
Right.
And we are just such a 2-day delivery, 1-day delivery culture.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually brought up a good point too about, on your website, they're going to have to pull out their credit card. They're going to have to enter it into your website and blah, blah, blah.
16 numbers.
16 numbers and the date and the little code. All that stupid stuff. In Amazon, it's already stored. Pow, pow. If I don't like this, I know I can return it and nobody cares and nobody's going to bug me about it. Pow, pow. And like that convenience alone. Psh.
We recently had a marketing company come to us, and what they do is bona fide SMS and MMS marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I first got approached by this, Steven said, hey, we got this email. I think we're going to take this meeting. And I'm like, dude, SMS? Come on. And then they had a really good pitch. And they told us the conversion rate when you SMS is so much greater. And then they brought up, Grant, does your wife not shop online? I'm sure she gets SMS. What does she think? And I'm like, you got a good point. When my wife gets an SMS, she treats it like the president of Lululemon himself is texting her.
Okay.
And she feels this overwhelming need to go spend money. I'm like, okay, so there's something there. So I entertained it. And it was expensive. They have this whole portal. They're charging about $400 a month. But what they say is, well, yeah, it's $400 a month, but we're going to get you an additional $15,000 a month in sales. Wow. Is it not worth the $400? So then I said, okay, well, they had a 30-day free trial. So we did the trial, and the trial went okay. And we sent a few texts and SMS and stuff like that. I got to tell you, Marcus, even with all the confidence that sales lady had put in me, I still felt skanky sending those texts, man. I did not like that feeling.
Yeah.
And at the end of the trial, which they brag about, we have a 98% conversion rate. Once you do this trial, you're pretty much guaranteed to stick with us.
Okay.
Well, I looked at the numbers. I said, yeah, you guys did get us an additional 12 grand in sales. But if you look at the way those sales happen, I could have done that myself by giving people a little 20% off pop-up. Give us your email and we'll give you 20% off. That's easy stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't like it. I didn't go through with it. And it was kind of a fun conversation to shut that sales lady down and say, sorry, I just don't feel good about it. That's my value.
You just mentioned discounts versus no discounts. It's probably a good subject for another podcast, but it's something that I've fought with too. I think when you have sales are a little low, your initial thing is, I got to spend more money. I got to offer 15% off. I got to do this. I got to do that. What you don't realize is on a product like mine, which is a $30 product, 15% is $4.50. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money because it doesn't seem like a lot, but you're not making a ton on each product sometimes as well. So, you swayed me a little bit, but also doing some research is you don't be too quick to offer those discounts.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's a different episode. But discounts it's a marketing ploy, and my position is discounts devalue your brand.
Yeah, they can.
So yeah, really what that conversion came down to was offering a discount to sign up for the SMS or the email. I'm like, screw that. I'll just get rid of your SMS offer. I'll do an email offer, still give them the 15%, and I can have that $12,000 extra quote. I'm doing air quotes right now. I can do that on my own without having to text people.
Well, yeah, and it's the difference between saying, hey, we're here, or going on somebody's window and knocking on it and like staring at them until they do it. I was like, it's just creepy. I don't know.
Look, in my opinion, if you have to do something you're uncomfortable with to sell your product, it's not the right marketing ploy. If I have to beg a girl to go out with me and on the 20th time she says yes, I'm not into it because I know that for 19 offers she said no. Yeah. You can't get that out of your mind that this girl doesn't even want to be with me. I've never, and I think it's the same with marketing. I would rather get on social media, post an awesome video. Yep. If you want it, take it. And if you don't.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
I hope I provided you value. Evidently, I did not. Nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
No harm, no foul.
Yeah. Let's jump back to Amazon versus other places. And that's, so we're both on Shopify, which we're not promoting one way or another. It actually worked very well in my case because I also would have needed to create a website. And in that case, it's so. I mean, I guess I will recommend it for if you're at a loss for doing your own research.
Yeah, why not?
It worked out very well for me because it allowed me to create a website. At first, I was like, oh, I'm going to spend some money to have somebody do it because I don't want to deal with it. But the thing with a website is, by the time you've gathered all the pictures and all the stuff and all the verbiage you need to give someone else to put it in a nice order, you're basically 80% of the way there anyway, right?
Yeah, we touched on that on episode 3 or 4 about building the website. And I loved the point that you brought up was like, okay, I have a picture of a boat. Can you put this on the website? Sure, I'll get to it in 2 days. 2 days later, how's that picture? Oh, it's okay. But there was an issue with the file you sent, didn't get open. A week goes by and you have a picture of a boat.
Right.
So you got to figure out how to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Right? What you're saying is Shopify gives you that ability.
Well,
right?
and it's super easy and super intuitive. And literally you sit down for the first couple hours, your brain's a little numb because you're like, I don't know, what am I doing? I don't want to do this. As soon as you start putting a couple little color combos in there and you put your stuff, it all starts to flow. It makes it easy. If I want to change something, I'll do it in 1 minute. I can do it on my phone.
Sure. So Shopify is great.
Yeah.
So back to Amazon versus Shopify. And let's say Amazon versus any e-commerce, can be Wix, whatever. It comes down to that dang conversion rate.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was kind of tapping on how I'm feeling this month. And I'm just going to be candid with you. The way I'm feeling this month is I'm just going to ship everything to Amazon FBA and let the register run.
Mm-hmm.
It's about ringing that register.
It is.
Now you can say, oh, but now you lost that customer. I didn't lose that customer. They still have my product in their hands. When they enjoy it, when a friend walks up and sees it, they say, where'd you get that? I don't care if he says Shopify or Porkstrap.com or Amazon.com. at the end of the day, it's ringing the register, and it's in a passive manner that I don't have to be so attentive on and aggressive on. I didn't have to email for that. You're reaching the wider audience by selling to a wider audience.
Yeah.
So, marketing people are banging their heads against the walls right now because they will swear tooth and nail about email marketing. Email every day. Email twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
50 people unsubscribe from your list. Who cares? Keep emailing. Keep going. And they're right. If that's the product, if that's the type of product you sell, that's the way you sell it. But I ask you, is it worth it?
Yeah.
Can we not just sell on Amazon?
Yeah. Well, and maybe to be completely fair, maybe there are products that are needed more often than yours and mine. I don't know if that is something like you're reminding people like, hey, don't, even like an Amazon hits, hey, you bought this thing of toilet paper last week. Don't forget. Okay, I get it. You're throwing a reminder in there for something like yours and mine, which, hopefully have more than a year life with people or whatever it is. You're not going to, emailing them 6 times, 7 times, they're not going to be like, oh, you're right. I do need another set of what you have. So maybe it works for them. It doesn't work for everybody in our case. It's so much more important to get them, to put it in the cart, to get the sale, and to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I think that when you're on this journey, and hopefully you've been following along with the podcast and you've developed your product, you watched the episode on patents, episode 3, and you watched the episode on nailing manufacturing, episode 4, I believe, and you're to the point where you're deciding, am I going to own this sale and this experience, or am I going to hand it to Amazon? I would encourage you not to see it as handing it to Amazon.
Yeah.
We deal with distributors all the time. Either way, you're handing the experience to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Having sales on your online store is great. And there's another thing. Let's touch on this. There's something called bleed over. That's not the exact term, but roughly that's how it translates. And that is when thousands of people see your product a day on Amazon, a certain percentage are going to get curious,
mm-hmm.
and they're going to find you on your website. Now, what if they can get it for $3 cheaper on your website?
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool thing, right?
Sure.
So it's another marketing tactic. You're still getting customers on your website. That's nice because you get paid the same day or two via Shopify. They'll pay out. Amazon pays every 2 weeks.
It brings up a good point too. The conveniences that Amazon, and again, we're giving you our opinions on what's working for us, and you have to find your own version of that. But in our case, in my case, Amazon offers the customer so many conveniences that make them want to go there that it's worth me putting more effort into that because of that. Whether it's the 2-day shipping on the website, it's free shipping. I offer free shipping, but it might be 3 to 4 days, right? Depending on where they are and what it is. Amazon has 1,000 of my units right now, and they're shipping. I can actively see that they're shipping to 22 of their warehouses. So they're sending them all the way over to the East Coast or up north or wherever it may be, ready for that. And that's what people, that's today. Attention spans are 0, 20 seconds or whatever it is.
No patience.
And the returns as well. And that's, with the website, we both have a fulfillment person, and people can still return it and it can still go there, but it's just ease. And to say you don't get to take the customer experience nearly as much as far as all the data is very true, but Amazon also still gives you quite a few analytics to know about, how many sales, how much do you have in an inventory? They deal with all that stuff, and it ends up being well worth it because your outreach and your ability to reach, same thing, ability to reach so many more people than you would, like you said, emails or whatever. It's in an instant.
Well, look at it this way. How many people would kill to get their product in a Home Depot, a Menards, a Walmart, what have you? You don't own the customer experience when you go into Walmart.
No.
You ship Walmart a container, and that's it.
You'll never see it again. Yeah,
you'll never see it again. Yeah. You don't know who's buying it.
Yeah.
Do you care?
No. And you've wholesaled it to them too.
Yeah.
So which is a whole nother, actually wholesaling is maybe another topic as well.
True.
But I'm a fan. People, they always, Amazon's the devil, or this is the devil, or the more you get into this stuff, I want to open people's minds. And we had a good conversation last episode about made in China versus not. And, it boils down to like you're an entrepreneur, you're an inventor, you've come up with a product, you want to get that product out and you want people to buy it. It's just probably not going to be the same path you thought you were going to have to do it at all.
Right.
At all. And, I went into it, I want it made in America. I'm going to put it only on Amazon because I don't want to deal with it, and I'm going to sell it. Yeah. Guess what? It's not made in America, which is absolutely fine.
Sure.
Because I couldn't. And it's on multiple platforms. And now, like with TikTok and Instagram, they have their own shops too, right? So there are so many little avenues. There's no reason why you shouldn't be hitting up all these avenues. It gets a little overwhelming. Like I'm doing it by myself. I know you have a small team behind yours.
Very small, but yeah.
But
and I did it all myself originally. It's just upkeep now. Yeah,
you did. And so for me to manage a TikTok shop, an Amazon shop, all these things,
it is a lot.
It's a lot. It consumes your life a little bit, but you start to pick and choose, and you're like, okay, Amazon's happening. My website, not so much. You don't disregard it totally, but it's not costing me anything to have it there and ready. My fulfillment lady makes money when she ships things, and so having all those different avenues gives you it's much easier. Here's another thing actually to talk about. It would be much easier if I had, let's say, because I'm having a bag. You have a bag for your product, right? And I'm going to have a bag as well, like a nice little tote type of
carrying bag. Sure.
If I want it on Amazon, I've got to get another ASIN. I've got to have that SKU number, all that stuff. I got to put it on there. I got to tell them exactly how many are going to go there. I have to know what colors are going to go there. In my websites thing, the fulfillment lady can have a box of whatever, and somebody wants one, and she shoves a black one in there. She shoves, a pink one in there, whatever the bag is, and that's it.
Yeah, no SKUs, no GS1 barcodes, no bona fide system of inventory. You just have one phone call and it's good. And it's a personal relationship. It's hey, so-and-so, I'm going to try selling this black bag for a while.
Yeah.
Can you just, keep that in mind? Sure, I'll tell the staff.
That's it. As far as that goes, I wish Amazon, which I don't wish, it just would be easier that way. That's not how it works, and I understand why it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But it gives you my brain starts to overload a little bit when I'm like, if I offer a pink, a black, a blue, a green, and a red bag, I'm like, my God, more SKUs, more printed tickets, more this, then it's got to go. And then if I'm short on the pink ones, and then I have to order more pink, that kind of stuff. These are all, you start to learn. It takes a while to learn. It's taken me a good several months to even comprehend some of the Amazon menu systems and what things mean and what I have to do. But the basis of it, of just getting your product on there, and once you do, it's banging.
Sure.
It is. And really, I've got now a good amount of reviews. You have people who are, I think I said, when you buy some straps, you might also like quick tie-down anchors. And those things are becoming priceless.
Yeah, definitely. So we're getting into a lot of the nuances of Amazon. And I want to give a little anecdote, little example. I talked to you about this earlier. There's always going to be people vying for own the customer experience. Nope, screw everything that we just said over the last 27 minutes. It's all garbage. You got to own the customer experience. Well, let's take a look at that with some numbers. So if I have a $40 item and I sell it on Amazon, Amazon typically charges about 25%, give or take, on how heavy your item is in fees. So $7 of that's going to be the shipping fee, and $3 or $4 of that's going to be the actual bona fide charge for selling on their platform, the FBA fee. Now, if I go and sell it myself, probably going to be about the same amount of fees. Let's use your product. You're going to ship it for about $7. You're going to pay $3 for a pick and pack fee. So it's still $10 on your $40 item goes to fees. So either way, you're paying fees. So I'm not really afraid of the Amazon fees.
Yeah.
So that kind of knocks that out.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing is how much it costs to get a sale done on your website. We push social media marketing a lot, but I understand that no matter what, that's just not going to be in a lot of the listeners' wheelhouse to do what you and I do on social media. We spent last week in Bigfoot and Yeti costumes promoting our product, sweating our you-know-what's off.
Yep.
That's just not in everyone's wheelhouse, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be. You can go with traditional marketing, but let me tell you what you're looking at with traditional marketing. You're probably going to go with Facebook and Instagram ads. It's the low-hanging fruit. Facebook is going to encourage you to spend hundreds, even thousands of dollars a month to get people to your website. They're going to tell you this is a long game and you need to spend a lot of money to learn your audience and get data and blah, blah, blah. Long story short, what they would consider a good cost per customer, how many dollars did it take to get that customer to buy your product? They would say on a $40 item, oh, it's fair to spend $15 to acquire that customer. In other words, you will lose money per customer to acquire that customer. Now, the way they justify it is, but they're going to be a repeat customer. That customer could spend $200 and $300 throughout their life. So it's okay to spend $15 to acquire a customer. No, it's not. I'm sorry. It is not.
Yeah.
You can acquire them for very little on Amazon just by being on Amazon.
Yeah. Well, and to let the audience know, you know that because you just dealt with that. You did the Facebook ads and the marketing, and you had a rep, and they were very friendly, and they called a lot, and they wanted you to spend more money.
And they say, you're really doing good.
You're doing good. Yeah. And again, these are our opinions, and this is what we've dealt with. People might have much different experiences, and that's great. We haven't had those experiences, and what we're realizing is that that money could be better spent somewhere else, or not at all, and to achieve the same goals. And you brought up, just costs associated with it. I think people instantly have a taste in their mouth, and I did, to be honest, with Amazon. I thought for sure Amazon's going to eat me alive with their fees, and it's going to be crap. It actually turns out that Amazon is cheaper for me. I have a smaller product than you, so mine's easier to ship. But because of their connections with UPS and their whatever it is, what they pull out of my product is pretty low comparatively.
Yeah.
And I was surprised. I'm probably making $2 more per unit than I thought I was going to based on the fees that are getting pulled out, and that's a lot.
Right.
And so ultimately, whatever avenue you take, sit for a minute and just weigh the costs, because that's what we were talking about in the very beginning. Are you going to fulfill this yourself? Or are you going to have fulfilled by Amazon? And you can actually fulfill it yourself if you're on the Amazon platform as well. So
merchant,
you lose a lot of the little like additives and business add-ons if you do that. But regardless, what's your time cost to put it in a box or to put it in an envelope and to take it down to UPS or USPS and then bring it? You sell one a day. Amazon, pow! You have 100 of them. You deal with it. Blah blah blah. End story.
Yeah.
And that's what your cost comes down to. I think it's really easy to forget that your time cost needs to be factored in to cost, because you don't think, you're like, well, it's $1 extra. Yeah, but what is 30 minutes of your time to drive down to the post office every day or every other day or whatever that may be? A gallon of gas now, at least here in California, we're still at what, $5?
At least $5.
Something like that. So, half a gallon of gas to get there is $2.50.
Yeah.
Like that instantly negates that stuff, and you're making life so much easier by having someone else do it. And that's really what I'm learning.
One thing that I'd like to touch on in another episode is sometimes working less makes you more money.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times working less makes you more money.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into the thick of this, but I used to trade my time for money. And I know you have to, and we still have to sometimes, but I used to directly trade my time for an hourly wage. Sometimes, believe it or not, working less makes you more money. That's a whole other episode. But one thing I want to note is that we haven't talked about Amazon ads at all in this podcast. Mm-hmm. So that's a little bit of a caveat. If you want to get more sales on Amazon and it's not happening organically, for me, it happens organically because I get customers on social media and then they say, oh, he's on Amazon. And then they buy fast.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that social media presence yet, you're not going to get a lot of customers on Amazon. You might be a little frustrated, and then you're going to want to run ads. And we'll talk about that. We're not big ad gurus, but we can certainly make an episode out of that. So this all comes down to, what do you value? Do you really need to own the customer experience? Is it really that important to you? Or can you kind of let that go? because no matter what, you're going to let it go, whether it's to Amazon or to Walmart or to Home Depot, Lowe's, the Westfield Mall in Topanga, whoever's distributing your product, you're going to let go of that ownership eventually. You can't sell them all yourself.
No, and that I don't want to say that's the biggest takeaway, but it might be the biggest takeaway is if you've got something in your mind going into this as a new inventor or a new product seller, that I consider, let's just call that control, right? You're not necessarily giving up control, you're rather dispersing where that goes. And emails are pretty much the only thing that, as somebody who can collect data, and sure there's some deeper data in there, but for us in the beginning of this stuff, it's just not worth it.
It just comes down to an email.
It does. It really does.
I don't want your email address.
Yeah.
If you want my product, you know where to find me.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of good ways to demonstrate the value of your product through videos, through posts, through tweets, through blogs, through you name it. And sending someone who, just because they've bought on your website before, an email. And yeah, there's friendly ones. There's good ways to do it. I'm not knocking email marketing altogether. What I'm telling you today is I am a little bit tired of all the legwork to get a sale on my website. And I'll keep doing it. It'll still account for a quarter of my sales per day, per week, per month, hopefully more. But am I going to front over whether or not I own it or Amazon? No.
Yeah, and this might be again another episode as well. But and you brought it up, is paying for ads, because you can pay for TikTok ads, you can pay for for Instagram ads, Facebook ads, and you can definitely do this. I'll just share my experience. I did I've run it on Instagram, which didn't get me anything. That's an opinion. Hopefully there are other people who are doing better with that. And I did it on Amazon, and I did see more sales. You get featured, or they put you in different, I don't know what they do with it. It's all their mojo with whatever it is. But do you remember the term or what conversion rate? I guess it's a conversion rate with how many people. Oh, it's pay-per-click.
Yeah.
Right. And
PPC, pay-per-click.
And
right.
you might say, I have $10 a day for 5 days I'm willing to put forth with this. And at the end of the day, it was like, yes, I'm reaching more people. Yes, more people are buying it. But the amount you end up spending wasn't quite worth it for me for the amount of customers I brought in because of that. So the one thing that they do is, if you run that, I think it takes 40 days, which I don't know why it does, but it does. They will send me a breakdown of kind of what all those analytics were, and maybe I can do something with that. So maybe it allows me to target market a little more, which might be important. But in the interim, don't get too caught up in spending a bunch of money on all these little ancillary things within the platforms that you're posting on, and things like Amazon. I think you're going to waste a lot of money thinking you need to blast off a ton of ads, because it can go down that rabbit hole quick where, like you said, you talk to Facebook, that rep's like, you're doing great. You're in the top, whatever it is, and you should spend more money. And you're like, yeah, I totally should. And then you're like, man, I spent $1,000, but I made $100.
Yeah. And you're so proud of that $100 sale, and then you look at it. It's like the people who go to Vegas and they came out ahead, quote marks. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And one thing you just mentioned quickly, I just want to say, you talked about, the other option is you got to spend money up front. You got to run ads. You got to do that stuff. And I'm not discouraging it, because for some people, it's going to be the only option. Mm-hmm. So what we'll talk about in a future episode is how to get money when you have no money. Yeah. Because I've been there. I started this business on essentially $3,500. Credit card hacking, bank loans. We're going to get into all that on another episode. So I just want to put that note in there that if you're like, hey guys, I can't do social media, I'm going to have to do this ad stuff here. I'm going to have to pay Facebook $3,000 a month for 3 months before I can get my analytics. Well, we'll talk about how to do that, because it is possible. And pretty much anybody with even a bad credit score can do it. But for me, that pretty much wraps it up. I mean, we're at 38 minutes. Mm-hmm. If there's any other anecdote or note you want to throw in?
No, I mean, we could go into crazy detail of Amazon and how it works and all these goodies. But I think the main goal of the podcast is don't be afraid of Amazon. I've become a much bigger fan as somebody who's selling now, and just the the reach that they have and the convenience they have to the customer. I think at the end of the day, I've set aside a lot of my previous thoughts about it because, hey, let's be honest, you want to make sales. That's what you want to do.
That's why we're here.
And that's why we're here. Don't be afraid to keep your hands in other avenues, whether it's like a Shopify account, and that kind of stuff. You do pay for these, so don't forget you're paying per month to have like a Shopify or whatever it is. So you've got to bring all those things into your mix as well. But don't put your hands in as many things as you can.
Be diverse.
Yeah, be diverse. Absolutely.
So that pretty much wraps up the episode of Amazon versus e-commerce. I hope we brought a lot of clarity to the listeners and let them know that be diverse, but don't get hung up on the little things. Don't worry about who's sticking their fingers in their pockets.
And that email is not going to be as worth it as much as you think it is to go get it. So let it go.
To some people, email is life. I'm sorry, guys. It's 2023. Like, people aren't going to put up with this crap much longer. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for today. Thanks a lot for tuning in. And we want to remind you guys to like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Follow the podcast on whatever platform you may be on. It really helps us a lot on the back end. Now, don't forget, Marcus and I took all these punches so that you don't have to. So at the end of the day, take advantage of that. Thanks for stopping by, guys. We'll see you on the next one.